Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mr. Sasato's YouTube videos. Today we're going to be going over how to name ionic compounds and review a little bit of how to crisscross charges in order to get proper formulas. Now this isn't in your notes, so you're going to need to get out a separate piece of paper and construct a table like this. The same 3 columns, the same 15 examples. Make sure that you are neat and orderly and it doesn't just look like you did this right before class started, because otherwise you won't be getting full credit. Alright, on the left column, I have the name. In the middle column, I have crisscrossing of charges. And on the far right, I have the formula, the actual final correct chemical formula for each substance. So I'm going to do the first 3. So 1, 2, and 3. You'll do the rest of those. You'll do the other 12 on your own. But if you have questions or anything, hopefully these first 3 will kind of include enough of the information that you'll be able to kind of follow along. So ammonium chloride is the name, so I need to crisscross charges and write a formula for that. Now remember, we have a list of polyatomic ions, and they are things like ammonium, or nitrate, or carbonate, things like that, things that you had to memorize. And so if you don't memorize these now, you're not really going to be able to write any correct formulas later on. So make sure that you do follow along and actually memorize what I tell you to memorize. Alright, so ammonium. What is ammonium? Hopefully you remember it is NH4 with a plus. What is chloride? That is Cl with a minus. So when I crisscross my charges, I have a plus 1, I have a minus 1. They already cancel out, and I end up with my final formula being NH4 just Cl. So NH4Cl. No parentheses are necessary because I'm not putting a subscript next to NH4 or anything like that. So it's just NH4Cl. Next up, I have Na plus SO4 2 minus, and that is what I'm going to need to crisscross. Okay, so let's name this first. So I have Na plus, and I know that for a fact is sodium. So I have sodium. And then SO4 2 minus, that's one of those polyatomic ions that you need to memorize. So sulfate is what that would be. So I have sodium sulfate. Again, I need to crisscross my charges. So in case you forgot, remember, you crisscross one charge going that way and the other charge going the opposite direction. So I have Na plus and SO4 2 minus. So in reality, all I have to crisscross looks like that. Na2SO4. Okay, and so Na2SO4 perfectly crisscrosses our ionic compound. All right, and last but not least, I have a nice little compound that looks very simple over here, FeCl3. Now, Fe is iron, and iron is a transition metal. So immediately, I need to think of, do I need to include a Roman numeral for this? And so remember, most transition metal compounds need a Roman numeral because we don't know what the charges are. The only exceptions to that were zinc and silver and cadmium. So I've got right there FeCl3. That is definitely iron. What is the charge on the iron, though? It could be an iron plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4. How am I supposed to figure that out? So remember, if you ever get stuck, especially with transition metals, all we're doing is reversing the crisscross. So maybe it would be a little bit easier if I start there. So that means I had iron over here, and I had chloride over there. What was chloride's charge? Chloride is always a minus 1. It's from the periodic table. What about the iron then? If it's FeCl3, where did that 3 come from? Well, the 3 must have come from iron. Iron must have been a plus 3. So I have iron 3 now, okay, in parentheses. That means my iron's a plus 3. And then for Cl, that is just chloride. I know I took up a lot of space there, but that means it's iron 3 chloride, and that's it. So again, make sure that you follow along, and just to be a little clear here, I'm going to erase everything so that you can get a nice clean look at this. But if you have any particular questions or anything, make sure you ask tomorrow.